Lakeland PBS presents Common Ground, brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota. Production funding of Common Ground is made possible in part by First National Bank Bemidji, continuing their second century of service to the community, a partnership for generations. Member FDIC. Welcome to Common Ground. I'm producer-director Scott Knudsen. In this episode, visit the Leech Lake Art League and come along as they create and critique each other before their big show at Chase on the Lake in Walker, Minnesota.
I never called me an artist before, but now everybody says you're an artist, and everybody's an artist when you paint something. And it has been wonderful. That group, it has been fantastic for me.
I think when you have a hobby that you really enjoy, you find people that enjoy the same hobby. It doesn't matter who they are, what age they are, everybody has something in common. And that's what makes this group really unique, is they're willing to share their common interest with everybody else. My name is Kari Townsend, and I'm a member of the Leech Lake Art League. I hadn't really been with a group of artists before. I kind of dabbled with painting at home by myself. I did a few paintings for people, but when I started coming to the Art League, they gave me great feedback and critique. And they were very welcoming and very inviting.
I am Eleonora M. Deskins. I am from Mazatlan, Mexico. And I came into Walker 6 years ago. And I've been painting before in Mexico. And then I stopped for many years, and God blessed me with this opportunity of painting again. I paint with the Leech Lake Art League. We are a group of almost 30 people, and they're most women, and they are a fantastic artists. They are very nice to me since the moment I show up, and I've been there exactly 1 year, and it's really have changed my artist life. It has been fantastic group. I would never imagine that on top of work, they become a little bit your friends. And I know they're honest and they're good people. They're good ladies.
The artists of Leech Lake Art League meet every Thursday, year-round at the basement of the Legion. We start painting around 9-10 o'clock. People bring all of their stuff down, bring easels, they bring their paints, they bring snacks to share, and people just get together and talk, look at other people's work, talk about what's going on in their lives, and it just opens up great communication between people that maybe normally wouldn't be talking to each other. You can come in and sit down and quietly work. People might come up and ask you questions or talk to you. Some people come more for the social, and that's great too, because you get a chance to talk to people about art.
I'm Martha Tacker, and I've been a member of the Leech Lake Art League for 3 years. I drive from Park Rapids, or actually by Emmaville, to get here, so it's a little drive to come, but it's worth it in every way. The thing it does for me is that it gets together every week and paints, and you can share ideas and get feedback, and just a camaraderie of creative people, and it's wonderful. It might sound like kind of a dreary place to paint, but when you get everybody in there and it has good lighting, and it's just fun to be down there. It's just our place on Thursday morning. So what I'm finding there is that no matter what I bring, like whether it's a portrait or a landscape or a still life or whatever, there's somebody there that has some training in it, or they're just available to give critique to it. So that's been the good part of it.
When we're painting in the basement, if you run out of a certain color of paint or you need another canvas or a paintbrush, the Peculiar Painter is right next door to the Legion where we paint. So it's fun to come up and go over to the Peculiar Painter, look at the supplies, look at the artwork, and pick up what you need.
Hi, my name is Amy Bouchard. I am an artist, designer, and illustrator living and working in Walker, Minnesota. I moved here recently about 5 months ago, and I have been working with the Leech Lake Art League and serving as their secretary ever since I moved here. I recently moved to the Walker area from the Minneapolis area, and entering the community as a new artist, it was important for me to reach out and make connections within the artist community as soon as I could. It's been great. It's a really non-intimidating environment, which was something that I maybe struggled with a little bit in a larger area, was sort of putting yourself out there. But I've felt very welcomed into the Leech Lake Art League even as a newer member. So the camaraderie is great, really positive energy. It feels really good to walk downstairs, see everyone that you've been seeing from week to week. As people are setting up, it's fun to see the progress people have made on their pieces throughout the weeks, and you just have your regulars at the league and you get used to seeing everyone every week. It gets a lot quieter once we've all kind of gotten into our artistic zones, and we'll really spread out a lot as opposed to being all sitting together at the beginning, because everyone kind of needs their space to spread out all their supplies, set up their easels. So yeah, then once we get going, for 2 hours or so, we're really just sort of in our zones. People occasionally, get up, mingle, see what people are doing, and look at different techniques, because that can kind of be nice to see how other people are working too. I think that's not something that always happens. A lot of times artists are just working on their own. Even if they'll meet up with a group for a critique, they're not necessarily all working together. So I think that's been really fun to see the process. So usually we'll work for a few hours, we'll take a lunch break, we'll order some food from the Legion and we'll eat that, and then after lunch we'll all meet up again and do a critique of our current pieces that we're working on. So someone will start it off and they'll set something up on the easel, and we'll sort of step back and look at it. And it's been a really constructive environment, I think, because people, they do want to hear feedback on their work from other artists, and you don't always get that opportunity when you're in a larger art community. And so it's been a good way for people to get that feedback that they need, even if it isn't all positive necessarily. I think people have been really great with contributing constructive criticism for people. It's not your typical Minnesota nice, we're willing to dish it out and then take it too. So the critiques, I think, have been one of my favorite parts of being a part of the league, because you can be working on a few things and not know where you should be going with something, and I think that the other members of the league have really helped steer me in some good directions.
The very first time I came to the Art League, I brought 2 paintings, and I'd never showed anybody the paintings before, and I felt comfortable bringing the paintings for them to see because I wanted to get better. And they were very helpful. They were very constructive with their critiquing. They give great advice. And it's really neat to see when you put up a painting for critique that some people see things that you don't or others don't. There might be a weird line or a weird color or something that's distracting. And when you're so focused on your own work, you don't see those things, but other people do. And it is a critique. You don't have to take the advice, but it's nice to hear it.
Being with a group of other creative people, and many of them painters, And many of them with some kind of academic training in art has been a gift for me, because what I'm looking for is somebody that can help me grow and learn from critiques of my own work, which is really important to me. And what I've found is these people don't just say, oh, that's pretty. What they say is really a serious critique, done in a kind way. So I really feel like it's wonderful to have the viewpoints of all of these people looking at my work, because I want to learn, and that's one of the reasons I have stayed a member of that group.
I think honesty sometimes, and because now I've been having that for a year, it's a little bit like, oh my God, should I show this painting or not? I'm afraid to be critiqued. But you know what? When you have something good and it's just for you, you don't care if somebody will say something, see? And that's me. I paint for me. It's just an enjoyment that I have. So sometimes if people say something, I said, good, maybe I don't see that. So it's like one time I have this painting and a lady came to me and she said, you forgot to put the stamp on the flower. And I said, wow, how did I miss that? But that makes my paint to go like this, and that's why I'm so happy that they're very helpful to me.
I think most of the artists that come and join a league, they want to have some kind of communication with others about their work, whether they're just starting out or they've been painting for many years. They want to be able to talk about it, and it gives you a chance to talk about it, stand up in front of people, talk about your work, show it, because it's kind of a private thing to do art. It's a private experience. So when you can stand up in front of a group of people that you know a little bit and show them, it kind of takes that edge off, and it makes you a little more confident to say, okay, I could do this again.
For me, the critiques that we do, I think, are on par almost even with the type of critique that you would be seeing in like an art or design school. I think that everyone really knows what they're talking about, whether they're a professional artist or someone that has just started doing art as a hobby. I think that everyone has really strong things to contribute to the conversation. I do think people are really good about being honest with their feedback without being brutal, and it's really great hearing people be open with each other during the critiques, because I think a lot of times you're just getting feedback from family and friends that obviously have nothing but positive things to tell you about your work, and so I think people actually look forward to hearing some like criticisms and feedback that isn't necessarily 100% positive all of the time, and I really think that it helps people in the group grow as artists and develop their styles and techniques and push forward with things that they thought were holding them back and explore new ideas. So I think that the critiques have been really great for everyone in the group. So as part of the league, during the summertime, we have plein air outdoor painting events where you will go out to different spots in nature and kind of just sit and be inspired. And it's not necessarily about creating this really final, perfect piece. It's almost just about sketching, gathering ideas, whether you take those back and then further push them into a more finished piece, or whether you just kind of let them be sketches and ideas from the moment. So I think it's been a nice way to get inspiration going to different areas that you wouldn't normally have access to.
And that's been fun. It's been a new challenge for some of the artists. It brings people from the community in to see us painting out in the community. And we're gonna be doing that almost every summer, and picking different places at artists' homes. We've painted out in public parks, city docks. We've been painting a lot of places around the Walker, Park Rapids, Nevis area.
And that's a different experience because you have to set up outside and the light changes, so it's just a learning experience for me because I haven't done it so much.
There's some challenges to plein air painting. The weather is a big factor, wind. Having just the equipment to set up an easel to set your materials on, bringing your materials out there can be a challenge. The sun can be a problem for painting outside because it will dry your paints out really fast. But it's a fun challenge because you're painting out in nature, you're painting exactly what you see.
The first time I went, it was in Park Rapids, and they want us to paint the Red Bridge. I painted, but I never have painted trees. I never have painted a bridge, and I don't know how to do that. But I have so much enjoyment, and I did the painting. And when you see somebody painting something, then you come home, and then I remember, oh, it was like this. So you start doing the same thing, and it comes out.
One of the results is that the paintings often have a freshness about them rather than a studied, something you've worked on for several weeks.
As an artist, I had not had a lot of experience working in the plein air environment because I hadn't previously lived somewhere that had so much natural beauty to offer. And I think for me, part of it, I'm very precise and always want everything to be perfect, but I think that the plein air setting kind of helps you to let go of that. You're out of your regular studio environment.
You are faced with 360 degrees of something to paint. So you have to really focus on what you want to paint on because you can't paint everything. And the other thing is the light changing. You have to have a good sense of the shades, the shading that you want to put in, the shadows and all, and paint fairly quickly.
When we did a critique outdoors after our plein air session, your paintings are so fresh. They're still wet in places, and so your ideas are still fresh too. And so it's fun to do a critique on something you have just made and haven't had much time to process and mess with a little bit, and just to kind of see where you were in that moment and what other people see in your painting of that moment too. Versus painting in the basement, a lot of us are bringing paintings we've been working on for weeks or months at a time and been thinking about for a long time.
I feel like they're breathing.
I'm crazy for flowers, Blake.
Yeah? Ooh.
That's beautiful.
And in 2017, we visited the Red Bridge Park in Park Rapids. And that was my first plein air painting and a lot of our first plein air paintings for many of our artists in our league. And we picked spots out in the park under the trees, painted the bridges, painted the trees, and had a good critique session at the end of that.
Well, actually, the Red Bridge Park has a special meaning to me because my father was the one who designed that original red bridge there that went over Fishhook River. So I was pleased to do that, and I actually made a painting of the Red Bridge as it stands now, which is not over a river, but I did put a little river under it because it needs a river under it. To tell you the truth, it wasn't the first time I painted it. And my daughter is a pastel painter, and she's painted it. And actually, I took my granddaughter down there when she was here, and we sat there and painted, and she enjoyed that too. So I guess our family will paint the Red Bridge as long as it's there.
At the end of the season, the Leech Lake Art League holds an annual art show and sell. And we held that at the Chase on the Lake in Walker, down in the ballroom. We usually have around 30 artists that show artwork in the show, 2D pieces and 3D pieces. It's a 3-day show, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we usually have around 800 people that come to the show.
This summer was my first time participating in the Art League's annual art show that they hold every year at the Chase on the Lake Resort. And I think for the league, it's like this is their sort of like end of the year big event that everyone looks forward to, talk about it all summer, getting everything ready for this event. People are picking up their things from the framers. And then I think one of my favorite things about getting ready for the event is when you're hanging up everyone's work is that we do mix everyone's work together. It's not like other art fairs that you'll see where everyone has their own kind of like booth or area, because we really want visitors to the event to see everyone's work and not just come for one specific person. And then the way that we curate everything, we really try and put pieces together that look good together, almost in a way where you can imagine two different artists' paintings working together in someone's home together. So that was really a fun part of the event, was placing everyone's work together, and people kind of pick their standout pieces that they want to be showcased, you know, in the brightest light.
I would have never imagined to go into an art show. I would have never imagined have my paintings in similar to a gallery. Now I can feel like what it is.
And it was really fun, a lot of work. People put a lot of work into that. But there are really some fabulous paintings there, and I think people would be impressed to come in and see the paintings that are available there. All different sizes and kinds, plus some prints and cards are for sale there too. But it gives you a nice overview of the output of the Art League, I think.
It's not a little show, it's a big show that we work on all summer long. We fill up the entire ballroom with paintings. It takes a big committee of artists to come in and set up all of the standards for the paintings and the tables for the 3D pieces. We have a reception Friday night with music, and then we have people come into the show all day Saturday and Sunday.
When you walk into the Chase Ballroom, you're almost overwhelmed with the amount of art in a sense, but also the variety. It's like a gallery showing in a bigger city, I think.
When I can walk around at the art show and see my artwork around hundreds of other pieces of artwork, it's a humbling feeling. I feel great to be part of such a great group of people and a great group of artists. I am proud to be with them, and just to see all of our hard work over the last year on display for us to see and for the public to come and see is just a great feeling.
Everyone was so excited to be there after all of your hard work that you put in. I mean, constantly throughout the whole year and years past, you know, people have all of their work that they want to show to people, and so there's just a good energy in the air, and everyone's excited for the opening night and the reception. It's kind of fancy, everyone's dressed up and ready, and then once people make that sort of like first sale or something like that, it really makes you excited to be a part of it.
The art show has become a highlight for people in the area, and people even coming up to Walker just to see the art show because it's gaining a reputation. And I think one thing is moving it to the Chase really gives more visibility to it. And when people see the quality of the artwork that's there, it brings them back, and it really gives a stature to the community. I think anytime you can promote the arts, it just gives the community a little foot up, I guess, on visibility to the entire Minnesota or upper Midwest area.
The Leech Lake Art League has been working for years to build community. We've been trying to promote us as a community organization, open to the public. Come on in, paint with us, see what we do, and talk with us. And having opportunities like the Plein paintings and painting at the farmers market in Walker in the summer opens up more communication for the public to see art, to talk about art, and for us to talk with them.
Yeah, I think every community needs a group of artists within it to kind of have that creative spark within the community. I think it would be boring without it if you don't have artists living and working in your city or in your town.
So this is why it's so important to be in a group, because the idea of someone, how they touch the brush, how much paint they use, and how many things they do like that is fantastic. So then you come home and you do it. I never paint pine trees before. I'm painting pine trees. I never paint a tree before. I never paint a fish before. I never paint many other things that now I'm doing it. And now I'm not afraid to paint something, so I feel more free to do it.
Well, I think people benefit from a group like the Art League that can benefit directly. Like I started really painting with more seriousness after I retired. Well, think of all the retired people or people that are up here in the summer and thinking about maybe getting involved in something like that. So the Art League is there for them, whatever their art interest.
As a member of the Leech Lake Art League, being able to come out into the community and show people your artwork and talk to them opens the communication. It kind of brings down some barriers that artists for the artists, not for other people. Kids can come up and participate at the farmers market in some of our artwork that we're doing, and then the parents come and see, and that is an investment in the kids and the parents, and then the community is art being appreciated and approachable in our community.
Thank you so much for watching. Join us again on Common Ground. If you have an idea for Common Ground in North Central Minnesota, email us at legacy@lptv.org or call 218-333-3014. To watch Common Ground online, visit lptv.org and click Local Shows. Episodes or segments of Common Ground, call 218-333-3020. Production funding of Common Ground was made possible in part by First National Bank Bemidji, continuing their second century of service to the community, a partnership for generations, member FDIC. Common Ground is brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, with money by the vote of the people November 4th, 2008. If you watch Common Ground online, consider becoming a member or making a donation at lptv.org.